Last week I showed you how mining companies are now advertising to defend themselves. Even though fossil fuels are essential to our economy and prosperity, they're demonised by many in politics and the media. So they're fighting back.
For 25 years, Glencore has responsibly mined the metals and minerals that advance everyday life, that power our homes and businesses and are used to create almost everything around us, from smartphones and electric cars to renewable energy for a low-carbon future.
That's an ad for Glencore, one of our largest coal miners. They're advertising on this station, and I took an interest in this before I knew they were advertising here, before they'd bobbed up, because of a lobby group pushing to cancel these companies, ban them from advertising, lumping them in the same category as tobacco companies. I saw about this in the story in the Sydney Morning Herald, where the spokesperson Belinda Noble is quoted as saying the fossil fuel industry is less obvious than smoking, but it's also worse than smoking. Burning fossil fuels causes more deaths globally than tobacco does, she says. The climate warriors teaming up there with cancel culture. Joining me now is Cass McCarthy, who's Glencore's head of corporate affairs. Thanks for joining us, Cass. First up, for the main point, telling people about what the mining industry does to support all parts of the economy and get power to people across the country. Are you disappointed you have to do that? I mean, I would have thought kids would learn that in school, right?
Hi Chris, thanks for having me. Yes, it is disappointing, but it's not just disappointing for Glencore, it's disappointing for all our workers, their families and the businesses that are connected to not only our company but to the mining sector in general. I mean, we had a very simple task with this advertising campaign, simply to talk about Glencore, who we are and what we do, and bring that to a wider audience in Australia. I think, to your point, most people know us as one of the largest coal producers in Australia, but probably what they don't know is that Glencore is Australia's largest producer of cobalt and zinc and the second largest producer of nickel and copper. So they're really important for the future of our economy as well.
Yeah, just anyone at home wondering what's happening right at the moment. National energy market at the moment, 59% is coal. That's nearly 60%, plus gas at over 12%, wind at 16%. So we're going just at the moment at well over 70% of our power coming from fossil fuels, and it powers everything we do in this country. You're fighting back, though. You're not just telling people about what you're doing and other mining companies are doing. You're having to do this because so many people want to demonise your industry.
I think it's a fair point that the sector is under a lot of pressure, and we've taken the position that we want to talk about our company. We're very proud of our business, and particularly our coal business. Our coal business in the Hunter Valley, you talked about economic contribution. Last week we released an economic contribution report, and it demonstrated that Glencore in Australia contributed $14 billion. In the Hunter Valley alone, our coal business contributed $3.6 billion, and it extends beyond just that economic contribution. We work with over 100 different community partnerships as well. So we take our role as being a responsible operator and playing our part in whether it's the energy sector or the communities in which we operate really seriously.
Yeah, look, and we've got to talk about climate change and the environment and emissions, and we always do, but people need to understand that it's affordable, reliable energy that has delivered everything we have across the civilised world today, and it continues to lift people out of poverty right around the world. What about this idea that you shouldn't be allowed to advertise, that you should be banned and cancelled effectively, fossil fuel companies from advertising?
We wouldn't support that, Chris. I think we should be entitled to talk about our business and talk about the merits of our business, what we do and why that's important to the economy and everyday Australians, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You have every right to do that. Thanks for joining us, Cass. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Chris.
Cass McCarthy there, who's head of corporate affairs at Glencore. As I said, I got onto this story when I saw the story in the 9 media newspapers saying that these companies should not be allowed to advertise. It was before I saw they were advertising here. It's got nothing to do with that. I think this is cancel culture, and we've got to rail against it. They'll stop the supermarkets from advertising soon because they sell meat and fly spray. The world's gone nuts.